I'm cozy, and I'm ready for motherfucking action.
All right. Welcome to Whine and Cheese, number 22.
22, baby.
22.
Deuce in the Jesus.
I used to, it's funny how shit pops into my head, like right when we start talking. We went to, when I used to be underage, like 15, 16, 17, I was like an up-and-coming volleyball player around here on the beach.
Right.
And I was good. And I would, older guys would want to play with me because I was, guys in their mid-20s, 30s, whatever, they'd be like, man, Cheese, come play. Let's play in this tournament. And they would all, like, my one requirement was, wherever we're going, you have to buy doocies the whole way there, which means whenever I'm out of beer, and it's like I'm like 16, right? Like, it's totally seeing the future on this
Better
shit.
have my beer, motherfucker.
Yeah. So we'd just drink doocies the whole way to wherever we were going.
So, studying trigonometry in high school by day, but by night, getting some volleyball snatch and drinking doozies.
Man, that was some good times. And just so everybody knows, we got my beautiful friend Bobby Hoerner.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Back in the studio. I'm so glad to get some retribution because anybody who's been following the show knows that I fucked the recording up last time Bobby was here. And
I didn't know what you meant by retribution. Dude, it turned out fine. Thanks to George.
Well, look, George.
Buck Shice.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Who, kind of saved the day on that because man, you want to talk about a little anxiety when I found out that I fucked that thing up. That was number 17, but look, you get some professionals involved, and hopefully that never happens again.
Oh, it's all good, man. It turned out good. That was a good conversation. I'm ready for another one.
Well, yeah, sweet. So I guess let's just get this out of the way first. It's funny how things, just timing and everything works out, man. But so this past weekend, one thing that I've been talking about since the beginning of this podcast was my buddy David. We lost him. The anniversary of his death was this past weekend.
Yep.
So it's been a year.
Yep. In
many ways, this past year it's been both the longest and slowest year that I've ever lived. Like, I don't even know how to explain that.
It felt long for you.
Yeah, it really. Well, let's just say this: when the year came up, and I had no idea when it was. When the year came up, I was like, oh wow, that was fast. But the amount of changes that I've undergone since then. Dude, it's crazy. It's like I've lived a little lifetime this year.
Absolutely, and I guess that's why they call it growing pains. And the one thing about this show that I like is that it's so honest. So the one thing that I want to tell you right off the bat as your friend is that I know and I'm proud of you that you went to a trauma counselor.
Yeah.
And you did some real meaningful work there.
Yeah, it was.
And I think it's part of the reason why you seem pretty well adjusted. Obviously, we'll never get over David being gone, but there's a way to just accept something and move on with your life, if you know what I'm saying, and try to just take the good shit. And I feel that that's what you're doing.
And
seriously,
here's what's funny is that people look at what they see on Facebook and YouTube and when you're out playing a show or something, and they think, oh, you're doing great. Like, you're doing more than, I've had more than a few people tell me, oh, wow, you're so strong. You're doing a podcast, you're in a band, and I'm
They're
like.
let you dying inside.
Yeah, that shit is fake, like, Bobby, that shit is fake. It is like, you do this because it's a distraction, And a lot of people equate that with, oh, well, you're doing a lot of things, so.
You're right in that. That is a distraction. I love that you put it up to the microphone. I want the world to know, motherfucker, I am sipping on a cold natty light.
This shit is real.
Bitches, it's a real show. But I do think, yes, there is that veneer that you put up to people because, you're crying inside and you're really upset and thinking about him, or you just got out of your car to drive to a gig and you were just crying your fucking eyes out.
Yeah.
And then you got to go on stage. But the other thing that's unexpected is if you stay busy after something tragic happens, eventually that veneer, it kind of washes away like a little bit, meaning that you start to find meaning in other things because you're just putting everything out there, just staying busy.
Yeah.
And eventually something kind of puts its hooks into you a little bit.
Yeah.
And you start to get something out of it. And so I think it's a process.
Which I think, look, I do. The one thing I do like to think is the couple of things that I put my energy in, they're being successful. They're moving forward, and I think they're good. And I'm getting some good feedback.
There's a certain amount of drive, and because they're both the things that I'm thinking of are involved with entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. David was very much about that,
Yeah.
and so it's almost like it's a way to salute him is by continuing to do stuff that that David would enjoy.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And and it gives you that drive to do that too. But you gotta think about that stuff.
Did you listen to that piece of podcast that I put up that I did with David a couple of years ago?
I did. Amanda and I sat and listened to it, and we were cracking up, and then we started to cry.
Yeah.
And we started to laugh again. But it was good.
That shit was funny, man. He was funny, man. That's what people don't like. He was funny, like clever, smart funny.
Not just funny, but I'll say this, and that's the irony about losing David and Squirrel, is they both in their own way were really professional comedians.
Oh.
I mean professionals.
Yeah.
Like they knew about timing, they knew about skirting that line between totally can't say that shit and can say that shit. Not offensive, but offensive.
Well,
and
I thought about two things today concerning that. One, being in a band, doing this podcast, like I never tried to do any of this shit until I was in my mid-30s.
I know.
Obviously,
You're a late bloomer.
Obviously, I always had it in me, but what I realized was performing for them and my friends was enough. It was enough to make that audience.
And that's a tough audience.
To entertain.
You can please them.
To entertain that audience was when I cracked them up, I knew, hey, I don't need to take this on the road because that was the toughest.
You got your trophy right then.
Yeah. And the other thing is that this is strange because I didn't notice it for a long time, but I have this thing is there around me now of just I feel alone all the time. Like during the day, going to get gas or
I understand
whatever.
what you mean.
And it's not something that's like in the front of your brain.
It's not overwhelming you, but you feel it.
It hangs there all the time now.
Yeah.
No matter where I'm at work, at home, here, on stage, with 1,000 people around, it's just there. And it's weird to walk around like that, and I don't know how to get rid of that, but it does go away, when I'm right in the middle of doing something like this.
I think it'll fade in time, but I actually think for you, because I know the level to which you loved him, is I think that loneliness thing, that's David still kind of hanging back. He's there, and you're still missing him right now.
Yeah.
And you'll always miss him, but I think eventually that volume that's up on that right now will be turned down over time. It'll start to fade, but probably take a long time to fade. Yeah. But I think that's just him hanging back, and you're like, you know what, this is all great, but it would be one step greater if he was here sharing a laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how,
No, without a doubt. And it's like, so we came up on the 1 year. I can tell you this, that maybe this is on purpose. I don't pay attention to dates, anniversaries, all that.
See, I'm the opposite. Like, I'm
right?
like, up. 14th, here it is.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like 2 days before, I'm like, ooh.
Squirrel's wife, Rebecca, literally texted me like Friday night and said, because her and I are really close, and I've told her, look, I don't pay attention to this shit. It's probably on purpose. I probably ignore it. So when the big things are coming up, give me a heads up a couple days. And so she texted me Friday and was like, so this is one of those times where you asked me, do you want to know? And I was like, and then I thought about it for a second. It was March. And I was like, okay, This has got to be what it is. But I'll tell you this, a lot of people had a hard time on whatever it was, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever It didn't faze me at all. I didn't think about it. Gotcha. I really didn't. I think, and I almost found myself.
Maybe that's a blessing, man. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to break down and cry on March 14th. You know what I'm saying?
Get this selfish ass shit. I found myself, no, seriously.
Speaking of David.
No, I found myself getting agitated with everybody talking about it or posting about it or bringing
That's how people process it up. But yeah, I get you.
Because I want to be like, motherfucker, I carry this shit around every day. I'm not looking to, But I was wise enough to realize it's a totally selfish way to feel, right? I'm like, all of y'all talking about some
y'all
other
all
dude.
wrong, motherfuckers. All of y'all. The only one that's right on earth about Davidson is me.
Yeah, right. And like I've got that feeling in here. And fucking Woody tells me I carry it around like a badge of honor, and I'll have to look at him and go,
I agree with
yeah,
that.
I think I do.
Yeah,
I do.
I agree with that.
You know, so
You want to protect the David legacy, and you feel that no one else is the authority on the David legacy other than you.
no, I don't feel that way. I know it. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Like,
Well,
that's
the
one
way
thing.
that you feel about David's legacy is yours from your point of view.
Yes,
There's a lot of
exactly.
point of views
which
out
is
there.
the correct point of view. You know, which is why it's mine.
Which is why it's your show.
But yeah, I don't pay attention to the dates. I don't
Right.
do any of that. I didn't go to the fucking grave. I don't really like doing that. Like I don't
I
want to
get
go
it.
hang out over at
I
some
get it,
fucking.
man. There's no right or wrong way to deal with that shit,
Yeah.
man. You know, if it ain't your jam, you know, you can honor David by not breaking down on the 14th and going to work and going to have a beer after work.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. I mean, it's so, you know, I don't know if I talk about that too much, but I don't know. Look, pretty much everybody. I've been running into a lot of people who listen to the show. If you're still here with us, just for a quick bit of self-promotion, if you haven't liked us on Facebook, go and do it. It gets the show in your face. If you don't like the
I agree.
page,
I'm
go
going to
like
post
the
something
YouTube.
tonight on my personal page about it.
It's great. I'm happy that the audience is growing and people are liking it. And people that I respect are telling me that they like it and it's good and it's compelling and they like listening to it.
I think it is as well.
So,
Which is why I'm here.
I'm
That's
happy
my
for that.
fee.
It's been, it's been, where's my money, motherfucker?
Bitch, come on now. It's my second time. No,
So
of course. I like this too. I like sitting down and talking. So
It's been a little haphazard, and so I finally started a schedule to get instead of trying to be so last minute. So I've got next week I got Jeff Lane coming in here.
right.
And here's
Sir Devin
what's
or Jeff Lane?
well, okay. Here's what's great is that I find it amazing because I'm going to talk to him about this. I find it amazing that this was even a conversation that was had, but apparently there was a discussion, about what he should do. Well, a year ago, I basically had never met Jeff a year ago.
I didn't know that.
Well, no, maybe in passing, right? Dickie and I weren't even friends.
Really?
Right? Well,
I guess you never just
So-
in the same room as them to have a conversation. Possibly.
We knew each other, but I would not call us friends. Now I would. Well, what happened was the St. Patrick's parade was like a day or two after David died last year, and Jeff wanted to reach out to me a year ago and say, hey, why don't you get out the house and come over here? And you remember, y'all were there.
Yes, I
Well,
do
he did
remember
the
that.
same thing again this year, which was
And you
great.
went again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was great.
Yeah.
But I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, man, you want to book this thing for next week? He goes, yeah. And he goes, hey, Cheese. And look, this is in front of people, right? He's like, so do you want me or the character? And I was like, look, you've been listening to the show. What would make you think I want to talk to fucking Sir Devin Nooner? Don't get me wrong. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
No, of course I get it too. I think it's great that they have a character.
Well, I do
That's
too.
cool.
I do too. But his response was, because I looked at him, I was like, Jeff, I understand if you have some type of conflict, but I want to talk to you. I think you are interesting. I think there's a lot more about you that people would want to know than just
Jeff's got a
persona.
musical career, that predates the Maui's with Crush UK. They
That's
played
what I'm
all
saying.
originals. They put out a couple albums, and so that's part of his identity as well.
And the greatest part was he looked at me and he goes, I don't think I've ever done an interview in my real voice. And I was like, sweet.
All the more reason.
Yeah. I was like, well, see, that's exactly why.
All the more reason why. You've done, 100 as Sir Devin. I want Jeff Lane
and right
from Chalmette, whatever.
And people do. They look, a guy like Jeff.
Lane's from Chalmette, y'all.
A guy like Jeff, he's got a following. And that's what I think when you get so entrenched in what you're doing, and you don't realize that he does have a following.
Oh, absolutely.
He's got a fan base. And these people would really like to hear about what your real life is like outside of just what you do in this really successful band.
It's like when Kiss took off the makeup, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's underneath?
Yeah. I mean, look.
I just want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think Jeff is more talented than the members of Kiss, but,
Yes, I agree. All the members of the Maui's are all talented than all the members of Kiss.
That's what I'm saying. That was one of the things I was talking about with Dickie was just the level of dude in that band.
They're professionals, man.
Yeah.
They're total pros, dude.
They're great.
That's what I love about them.
Yeah. So let's talk. How have you been? How's life with the donuts going?
Life with the donuts is great. I got to give it up to old Jerry Christopher. We have got, as you know, that we purchased a bus, and we decided, we talked a little bit about that, so I won't bore people with the details, but we figured out a way that we can pay it off in 2 years.
Yeah.
In 2 years, we'll own it outright, and we'll have a bus that'll last us probably 15 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a big deal. But Jonathan just showed me the final edit for the Super Pop video that we've been working on for like a year, and it's beautiful, man. Like and
that's an original song, right?
Original song. It's like a pop dance track.
Who wrote it?
My uncle, Zip.
No shit.
Zip wrote it. Dr. John heard it, liked it. Dr. John's voice is on it, and he plays on it as well.
Talk about your uncle Zip and give a little background on him.
Yep, because I tell you what, he's a big reason why Jonathan and I play music. When I was growing up, my dad, who was an orthopedic surgeon, but he grew up in a house that was surrounded by people that played music. His father was the first program director of WWL-TV. Grandpa Hoerner also invented Morgus the Magnificent, that character. That's his character that he invented.
Nice.
And he was an opera singer. And my dad's mom was a piano teacher, so she could rip it on the piano. And my uncle is a professional musician. And Dad also played drums, and he often joked that he was the black sheep in the family for going to medical school.
Nice.
So anyway, Zip lived in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, for about 25, 30 years, and we went and visited him a few times, and he he never made it big out there, but he was one of those guys that musicians go to see. He had this band called Sweet Magnolia. He was a ripping piano player.
He's killer now.
He's killer. I mean, he plays like Professor Longhair. He's got an amazing voice, and he always had these, bands with killer drummers and horn players and quality stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was friends with Stevie Wonder and Sly Stone out there, and they loved him. And anyway, so he would come in town to stay with us for a couple of weeks, and he'd go right to the pool room and sit down at that piano. And of course, Dad had a drum set set up. So that's how we started getting fascinated with music. To have someone that's in your family that is that good, it inspires you to learn an instrument. So that's when I jumped on drums. Jonathan jumped on the guitar. And that's how it started. So Zip has been an influence to us.
And he's played with some of pretty heavy hitters as far as Louisiana, New Orleans legends.
Dr. John, Tower of Power, Stevie Wonder, Sly Stone.
Wow.
He played private parties up at Johnny Carson's house in the hills in the 70s. And
he's got
Rod
great
Stewart
stories.
Great. Oh, yeah.
He's got
in fact,
great.
He might be a good guy to get on the show.
Yeah, I really think he would be.
Yeah.
That's kind of what was.
He's a fascinating cat. He's been friends with Mac, Dr. John, since they were in high school.
Nice.
So that was the connection. Mac heard the song and liked it. So anyway, that cut's done. The only thing that's we're waiting on is that we sent that cut to Dr. John to ask him to make a cameo in the video. So if he says yes, great. If he says no, then we'll just put it out as is. So we got that going. And to Jerry Christopher's credit, I got to give him credit on the podcast. We last year the band played 120 dates, which is a record for the band.
Yeah.
We already have. It's the third week of March, and we have 90 dates already booked on the books.
Holy shit, man!
Already 90. So, and that I think that's a testament to the fact that we're working hard. We have our eyes on the prize, but we have somebody that's in the driver's seat as far as negotiating and getting us gigs.
That's what it takes, right?
Yep.
You
need a businessman in the band. Dude.
Look, you know that you actually came out to a Paper Chase show on Friday,
which I enjoyed very much.
Yeah,
and you guys are really tightening it up.
I'm glad you thought that.
Yes.
I really did. It was awesome to see you out there, and you saw it was the really live crowd, man.
Crowd. I was dancing my ass off.
Yeah,
I couldn't help myself.
It was really great, and we're. Of course, everything in my life, I always think it's moving too slow, right? I want to make I want to be where the donuts are right now. But I have to admit that we're moving forward pretty quickly. We
I see y'all playing a lot.
Yeah, we're playing a lot and cool stuff. Like we just booked a festival in Baton Rouge. We're playing Italian Fest. Like we played at the Irish Fest under the bridge Friday. We played twice that day. When you came and saw us, that was the second 3-hour gig we had played.
Y'all double dipped?
We played from 5:30 to 8:30.
That's a good sign.
Yeah,
2 gigs in a day.
Yeah, and then played again. So, but Miguel is our Jerry Christopher. He is
need
just
a guy in the band like that.
every single day he's trying to book, he's trying to negotiate, and it's really helping. And if we didn't have him, we wouldn't be where we were at right now.
Look, yep, I agree. Hey, if it was my job to book the band and negotiate price,
Yeah.
fuck. That's why Jerry gets an extra percentage, and he earns every
it's
penny
so worth
of it.
it.
We're all working as much as we want, and we're getting the price that we want.
Yeah.
So,
well, I asked Miguel that. I was like, "So, do you want to get compensated for doing this?" He's like, "Fuck no." He's like, "I ain't got nothing else to do." And I was in my head, I'm thinking,
not yet.
I was like, "Yeah." In my head, I'm like,
that'll change when you start doing like $250,000 worth of business in a year, and 10% is extra $25K.
Fucking right. Yeah.
But you know what? In my opinion, to be fair, like you're making all the phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
And, lots of phone calls don't lead to gigs. It's like
no.
chasing people around and negotiating price and where is it and routing and blah, 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 blah.
That's the worst part of the job.
I never liked it.
Oh.
And look, Kevin and Jonathan and I go, nope, good. Take your 10%, brother.
Speaking of the rest of your guys, the rest of the guys in your band, Bag of Donuts, I get this. So I hit Kevin George up, who's the drummer in the Bag of Donuts, good friend. And I say, hey, man, why don't you come do the podcast? Come sit down. So he responds to me, no, I don't think so. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You know why?
Like
he doesn't think that he'd be interesting.
He doesn't look. He says, I'm scared. I don't think I'd be interesting. I'm like Kevin,
but in a very sweet way. He's like, dude, he goes, you know what? That's not my jam. Like he's like, I don't have anything to say. But one little funny part of the story that you don't know about is he said, I think it freaked Cheese out because no one's ever told him that.
Yeah, no. No one did.
Like, motherfucker, what do you mean you're not
I responded with, fuck you, dude.
Shit, you coming.
Yeah, well, and I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, you play 9/10 naked in front of thousands of people hundreds of times a year. You don't think you're interesting? Like, I know you, and trust me, it's not your job to come in here and be interesting. I'll pull the interesting out of you.
Yes, I agree with that.
So anyway,
let's keep working on
Kevin
that.
George is a bitch, and he won't come in here. And so he calls me back the next week. I guess he talked to Jonathan and Jerry and talked them into all coming in here together. So I think we're going to get the three of them in here.
Like that.
I can't wait for that because, I'm going to.
Plus, I like that it's me, individual, and then them three. It's
That's
a little bit different dynamic.
Right?
Like, it's good that I won't be there. I can't interject anything.
Right? Because it just puts you just a little bit higher, more important than them. Right? Like, you know what I mean?
I wasn't thinking about it like that. But now that you mention it.
Yeah. They know what fucking bread is buttered.
Well, vice versa. I think we're all grateful for each other, to be honest with you.
I know. I'm just messing it up. Look, in a small, weird way, like, y'all have been a part of raising me. I mean, I've been tagging along with y'all since I was 16 years old. Like, before you were even the singer, and a long time before you were even the singer in the Donuts.
Yeah, that's interesting that by the time that you decided to do music, you'd been around it for so long.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it had just naturally just kind of seeped in.
Yeah.
Like the right sway on stage, the right cadence in your voice. And, there's a lot of stuff that you don't even realize that you're picking up on. But if you watch it long enough, you just absorb it.
Well, plus, look, you're hanging out with, look at the dudes I'm hanging out with.
Some fun people in that crew.
That's what I mean.
There's some professionals in that crew.
But
and I don't mean music. I mean drinking.
Yeah, well, yeah. That, and just think about what it would have sounded like when I was 25 and I'm like, hey, I think I want to start a band. It'd be like, what? You don't know anything about that. So I think that's what always kind of kept me back. Like, you know what? I do sports, I'm the top guy in our group in that, and everybody else is, eventually I couldn't jump. And I couldn't fucking play,
You join the NFL and you're old when you're 30.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm glad we did it. But, the three of them in the next.
Thank you for saying that. That's a nice thing to say that we help raise you. But you know what? You brought a youthful energy to us that was also valuable and
Yeah.
that we needed too.
I could sense, I'm a pretty good judge of what's going on, and I could tell that y'all took a different type of liking to me than you did just the normal people that were around, and plus the group of guys that I came with, I kind of got a pass.
Yeah,
which was,
right. Like I think when I met you and Matt, no, I actually met Maggio and David on the same night.
That makes sense. Maggio's the facilitator.
Yeah, well, what had happened was, and we can, move on to whatever you want to talk about, but just really quickly, we met. It was somebody's bachelor party, and David and Maggio showed up, and I'd never met them. I knew them sort of from Lisa George and Coconut Beach and that whole thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so David and I, we hit it off right away, and Maggio, of course, joined in all that. And I think by the end of that night, we were at Mix on Tulane Avenue.
Wow.
And all three of us were on the ground, hugging each other, laughing and crying. Like we had gone from, I don't know you, to I'm going to suck your dick in about 6 hours. It was 6 really good hours.
Yeah.
But after that was it. That's all it took.
Yeah. So that was great.
So you came along and he went, oh, this is one of the Four Stooges.
Yeah, exactly.
And I went, oh, well, hi.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you're in.
You're obviously in.
Because I did. It was like I looked back at the timeline and I went from riding around with y'all, coming to the shows, and then all of a sudden I was living underneath Dupes with David, right? So for a year I lived basically in a house with Dupes, so that's
an experience unto itself.
I mean, the first week we were there, he came downstairs and he showed up with like a couple of bottles of booze and fucking 4 tickets to Gore. And he's like, we're going, motherfuckers. And of course, we're like, yeah, we're going.
And then you go see Gore, you're like, what?
Yeah, mind-blowing shit.
Mind-blowing.
Blood everywhere. That was Dupes' shit every time it came.
Yep.
Look, here's a little side. I have a little side wager with somebody. I'm not going to say who it is because I don't.
I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
I actually have been talking to Dupes. John Duplantis, who anybody doesn't know who he is, who is the creator of Bag of Donuts.
Yes.
He's, in principle, agreed to come on the show and talk to me. Now,
right on.
Now, actually scheduling him and getting him in here and doing it, but he said, right on, Cheese, I want to do it. That's going to be an interesting one, man.
That might be the best interview that you do.
I mean,
he's got the personality,
man.
and he's got some stories, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I would love to talk about those early donut days, like right into the first gig. Like I want to know how awful the first gig was.
I'll tell you a funny story about, I don't know, it wasn't the first gig, but when I was living with Mike Napolitano, who is now married to Ani DeFranco. Uh-huh. Mike and I lived together, and I brought him out to see a donut show at CJ's Tavern or something like in Fat City. And this is back when the donuts, were awful.
Yeah.
Truly. That was a badge of honor for them.
Truly awful, yeah.
But anyway, they'd start a song, and it would sort of crumble apart by the end, and Mike went and saw them, and he just thought it was the funniest thing. Like Dupes would make fun of themselves, so they got the joke too.
Yeah.
And Mike pulled me aside after that, after just gut busting laughing all night. He said, "Dude, if I ever go see the donuts and they're good, I'm gonna be pissed." He just enjoyed it so much because it was so raw and fuck off and let's drink some whiskey and it was kind of punk rockish in a way too.
Yeah, it was. It was totally out of just left field, nothing you'd ever seen before.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why they were popular.
Well, and that's what I mean.
And with a ringleader like him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Now, it's what everybody does. Right? Everybody's trying to follow that footprint.
They were kind of the first. I got to give it up to them. But I say they. I mean, I wasn't in the band at the time.
Yeah.
They started all that. And, they'll say the reason that they put on the costumes is they felt they weren't a tight band yet. And so the costumes were meant to be a distraction.
Yeah.
So people would see that and go, okay. And then and not mind so much that they weren't tight. And then,
Which is pretty much like all the other cover bands now that wear makeup and costumes, right? Other than the couple of good ones, most of them it's kind of, it makes sense.
I feel like I'm putting on war paint now, but I get why they did it back then because guess what? At the time that they were cutting their teeth, Metal Rose wasn't any good. I was the drummer, and we were, the only way to get good is to play.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Whether it's practice, but gigs will force some shit on you that practice won't.
I was going to say,
an audience that goes, you guys suck. practice.
Yeah, like I'm.
You know what I mean? That
Look,
kind of feedback will definitely get your attention.
I will tell you this though, Bobby. Like, look, I've got a fucking speck of the timeline in music compared to you, but I've never gotten better at rehearsal. I never have. When you would see me at rehearsal, you would think this is the most boring dude I've ever seen. Right? It's just 1, 2, 3. Let's
you're not
get through it.
You're just trying to get the rudiments right.
Exactly. And there's no way to. I'm slowly realizing that, like, when you see somebody, and if they're like, okay, there was this other band that played before us. This band Paris Avenue. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of these kids?
Oh yeah, it's 4 young kids. In fact,
okay.
They opened up for us at a fair a couple years ago, and they're the father of some guys got in touch with me. Actually, wrote a little thing about them that they put on their website. I was impressed with them.
No, look. They're good and they can play their instruments and all, but
they're young.
I watched them and I watched them operate on stage. They do not have a Bobby Hoerner. They don't have a me. They don't have a front person. Like, you can just see, you can't develop that. That innate ability to entertain from within and just naturally let it go, you can't teach that. You can get a little better at it.
I think over time, one of them may come out of their shell a little bit, that they're still trying to sort of just get it all right at this point.
Yeah, but weren't you like that when you were 5?
Well, yeah, I was.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And so does all these people that you know. They were look, all these like VH1 behind the music and shit, all these super famous people, you see them putting on a show for the family when they were 4, you know? And so that's you can't teach that part.
Well, there is a thing that is being a musician and being a performer. And sometimes you have one or the other, but sometimes you have both.
Yeah.
And the both is more exciting.
Now, I will say this. They were good. They're young.
They're young and they're hungry. Like, they're playing all the time.
They'll figure out. Obviously, parents, whoever, somebody's put a bunch of money behind them. Dude, the gear that they had, I'm telling you, the guitarist, the gear and stuff that they had for the road was stuff that David and I would sit down and look at, and he'd go, maybe one day. You know, like a full orange cabinet with the head, with the case that goes.
They were saying that too.
Yeah, like it's, you know, each guitar player had 10 grand worth of shit. And look, it's great.
Right.
And they will be. I told one of them, I was like, guys, like, if y'all, look, this is me. I don't have all the experience that all these other people have, but like, I have a good eye for what can happen. I was like, if y'all stick this out, you don't have to go to college. You don't this could be what you do if you keep it together.
And they've got one thing that none of us have got. They're young.
Time, right? That's
they're
what
youth.
And
I bet you they're getting just enough high school pussy that they're probably like, we're never going to stop.
Without a doubt. Fucking Phil in our band, right? He's got 2 daughters. One of them is like 15.
And they like Paris Avenue?
Oh, look, one of them is like 15 and the other one's a little baby. But they pull up to the show and Phil backs the truck up. And like typical fucking kid nowadays, they want to sit in the truck and play on the iPad. Mm-hmm. Well, like the Paris Avenue starts playing a song that, you know, obviously Phil's 15-year-old daughter, like, she jumps out the truck, like, videoing him, like, oh, this is my jam. And the dude in the band's got long hair. And,
yeah, they're sweet kids.
Yeah, so fuck him, man. Yeah. Fuck that little kid.
Man, fuck you for being young, you motherfucker.
Yeah, man. What? Yeah, with your beautiful locks.
I fucking dare you beat the clock.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Me, the donut, we'll all get on here and wipe the stage with you little bitches. So look, anyway, they're playing. They're just. Look, I like them. They really are. They're good
I know,
kids.
I do too. I know.
But they're young, and not only are they young, so they don't have that whole stage presence thing going for them. They also haven't figured out what songs to play, right?
Right.
They don't think about that yet. They think, oh, I like Blink 182.
So I'm going to play that. And you're right. They haven't catered their set necessarily to their audience.
And they didn't.
But, you know, that being said, that takes a long time to develop if you want to get it right. So, you know what? From what I've seen of them, you know, they're sweet kids. They all can play. And certainly they're not afraid of gigging and practicing.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of variables that are already in place. So I'm just trying to encourage those kids to just keep going.
When during our set, I kind of just gave a little mention to them and just
that's awesome.
It just, and I didn't plan it or anything, but it just kind of came out. I was like, y'all get used to these guys because they're going to be around for a while.
I think I typed up something similar to that.
Right?
You know?
Like, and I told them that afterwards. I was like, look, I can tell you from firsthand experience. I don't know what other people are telling you, but if you put hard work in music and you're willing to do what you're doing,
right,
you can be successful.
You know, and the other thing about it that I think is great, you know, you saying that and like other bands getting involved and trying to pump these guys up is I would have killed at their age to have some band that I, you know, looked up to or whatever take an interest and just try to help. So it's important to pay it forward when you get in, you know, some position to try to help a bunch of young kids that you think are doing the right thing.
I agree.
You know, help them out.
If they were dicks, of course I wouldn't. But they were cool. They were all cool, respectful.
Right, sweet kids, right. Exactly.
Which is, speaking of that, you know, I'm actually in that situation now because even though I'm 37, I've got a band that helps me out, and you're gonna be doing that on May 5th on Cinco de Mayo.
On Cinco de Mayo at Velvet Cactus in Lakeview. Hopefully it's perfect weather. It was last year. Paper Chase.
Wait, I thought
and Bag of Donuts.
Did y'all play it last year?
We did play it last year.
I thought Broussard played it last year.
Broussard played the day before, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or around Jazz Fest.
Well, so and look, I want to say.
Hey man, and last year it was huge.
Yeah,
like,
that's
if the weather is good, it'll be great. It's a Thursday too.
I totally understand that this is a big deal for us, right? Like,
I'm looking forward to just sharing the stage with you guys. Hope the weather's nice. That's all that matters.
When it comes down to the time that we turn the microphones on and start playing, it's autopilot. But leading up to that, I understand that you only get a few of these opportunities, you know, over time to get lucky to play in. Like, we know as long as the weather's good, we're playing to a fuck ton of people.
Yeah, if the weather's good,
are there
you'll be playing to a large audience.
Yeah, who are there already in a good mood and happy. For one, it's a holiday. For two, they're there to see you.
And they know what to expect as far as costumes.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, I'm thinking about this in a very strategic manner. Like, how can I optimize this?
How can we blow them motherfuckers away?
Exactly. So
that's the attitude you got to go into. Like, we're gonna wipe the stage with the donuts.
Yeah, well, that's the way I can look. I promise you, you know,
if I'm racing you in a 50-yard dash, I want to win.
Yeah, and maybe
no offense,
the only guy. No. Maybe the only guy, and you know what would be the greatest situation for me at, let's say, midway through your set that night is watching you play and knowing that y'all are all going a little bit harder because we killed it to open up.
We love that
right?
kind of stuff.
Like, that's
that
what I want to see.
Pumps me up so much.
I want to play well enough to where
Hey,
I can
guys.
look at y'all and go, look, we just got their A game, and they showed why they are them, you know, and
there's an old little joke in the band. It came from the movie Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis. And we've done some stuff at festivals where we've been the second to last band, and we'll do our thing. And we can see that by the reaction that we were able to get, that they do kind of push it harder. You can just kind of feel it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so our, expression that we, use among ourselves, it's a joke. It's supposed to be like being cocky, but it's a joke. It's, hey, bro, nobody follows the killer.
Well, no. And that's...
And that was a line from the movie.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, nobody follows the killer.
Nobody.
Like, I think Jerry Lee Lewis, set his piano on fire and kicked it off the stage, and when he's walking past somebody, was looking at him like, what do I do now? He goes, nobody follows the killer.
Yeah. And,
and that's how you got to think.
The people in my band, there's 4 other people in my band. 3 of them I know don't think like that. 1 of them I know thinks like that but won't say it out loud. That person is Woody. Woody wants to slit your throat, right? Like,
he wants to sound great musically,
and
he wants to,
and he knows, right? Like, you know who this cat Conor McGregor is?
I've heard the name.
He's a UFC fighter who he just lost to Nate Diaz this weekend, but he went up like two weight classes to fight him and really was kicking his ass. Well, Conor McGregor is like the alpha male in UFC, and you can see when he talks about how good he is, and it's real in his head, and he is in that zone. That's what he knows. He knows no drummer can share the stage with him, right? Like, and he
would never say that.
Never.
Right.
Never. But I can feel it.
Right.
Right? And I know it. I know the way I could just see the way he operates. And, of course, him and I are boys. So he said some things to me before. Like, he does have the confidence. But there are shows that we play that 5 seconds into him hitting the drums, I'm like, whoa, we're at another level because of where he's at right now. And I know in his head, he's swinging for the fences, you know? Yep. And that's what I like. I like that competitive shit. I do. Yes. Before our show on Cinco de Mayo, I am going to bring the band together, and I'm going to say,
all right, y'all.
We're about to fuck these dudes up. Right. Like, I want them to be.
Bobby and I talked, and I've got his permission to kick the donuts in the nuts.
Fucking right, man. And that's what we're going to do.
Because guess what? If y'all don't, we bringing it no matter what.
I know you are.
So,
right?
Don't look like an asshole.
No. And look,
you ain't going to. Y'all going to be great.
And I tell you that, it's never, I don't get rattled. Another friend of ours came, and Kevin George came to the show the other night, and look, it's like y'all are right up on there. I want y'all hop up on stage. You do songs with it, but you just got to roll with that stuff, and it's fun. You know, it really is.
Yeah, because there's no necessarily there's songs that you're playing, but other than that, there's not any kind of game plan. No. You can pause and talk to the audience. You can take a drink. You can, something funny might happen off stage that becomes part of the show. That's what's great about it. It's like flying by the seat of your pants for a couple of hours.
What was great was you were on stage and you were up with me, and it was like in the middle of a song, and I looked at you and I was like, hey, watch this. And I did a little call and repeat with the audience, something that I've seen you do forever, and it worked. Like, they're like, hell yeah! The crowd said, dude, and I looked at you and just gave you a fucking hug, and I was like, thank you, man. Like,
dude, get them involved early and often, and your whole show changes.
Dude, and that's...
When you know that, even if it's 50 people, but 50 people all singing together and loud.
It's powerful.
It's great.
That's enough for me.
When it's 500 or 1,000, then it becomes like you almost feel like you're in rock star territory.
And it was
at least for that moment anyway.
Friday night was an education because we play at 5:30 to 8:30 at that Irish Fest, right? And it was one of those gigs, and I'm sure you've had plenty of these, where the crowd size stays the same the whole time, but they're not necessarily. It's not a dance party, right? Like, you're just playing to a lot of people who are eating oysters and talking and enjoying. So you're not getting a whole lot of feedback. Nobody's leaving. The crowd's even increasing in size. And maybe the last 45 minutes, it really ramped up and people were dancing. But during the show, I'm not changing what I do.
No.
But I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety. Because I don't think I'm winning them.
I know it well.
Right? And then, so we hop off stage.
You got to settle down, though.
Yeah.
And just, as Jerry says, do the material.
And that's, that's something that I'm working on and trying to get past, because little things set me off when we're playing. Because I want it to be A game all the time, and sometimes things happen that knock you off of that. And I do. I lose it a little bit. Right. You know what I mean? I won't do it to the crowd, but to our people, I'll fucking snap a little bit, and
that gets better over time.
Yeah,
you just learn to deal with that stuff.
So, and we stop and we're wrapping up. There's a nice ovation or whatever, and I get down, and then I spend the next 20 minutes with everybody coming and saying, "Y'all were awesome. We want to book you again." Blah blah blah. So, and then we go to play another gig. The sound check is terrible. Like, I want to go to sleep. Like, we don't think anybody's going to be out there.
Yeah.
We literally. I say, hey, how about we just play the fucking set backwards from where we played it today, so we don't go crazy.
Mix it up.
30 seconds into the first song, the fucking place is rocking. And I'm like, this just goes to show you. Just keep doing the same thing. It's good.
Keep doing the gig. Like, meaning, there's countless times that I've had those same feelings. When something, like when I'm watching the crowd and they're not going crazy, like there's sort of. And I'm like, wow, like the gig last night, like they were going fucking bonkers.
How fucking much of a narcissist are we?
Well,
they're not going crazy.
Well,
oh fuck, they're not going crazy.
To me, that's one way to look at it. But I don't see it as narcissism. I see it as you want them to have a great time.
Fucking right.
And you know that the formula mostly works all the time.
Yeah.
So what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Let me,
what's different?
I'm going to change the song here. I'm going to say something to them. I'm going to get them to holler back at me just to wake them up. Sometimes people are just eating their oysters and they just want to listen. They don't want to drop the oysters and go, yeah. They're not ready for that yet. Yeah. So you got to let them get to that point.
And that's what it was. So it is. It's still, I'm still learning. It's still a growing process.
It's still, look, for me, man, it's still experimentation. Like the bigger the crowd, crowds get, the bigger the anxiety sometimes.
Yeah.
You know?
And look, we were talking the other day, and I still don't know exactly what this means, but you texted it to me, and I texted you to come see Baby B with me on Thursday, and I pretty much knew you couldn't make it, but it was just
I appreciate
a chance.
the invitation.
And you said you were like, "Nah, I got 2 kids," and then you texted me, "My time is coming." And I didn't understand what that meant. What
it
did
meant
that
was,
mean?
all that I was thinking when I texted that was, at some point, like I'd love to, and it's not like I would be punished if I went with Baby B to see you. I could really go if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
And I did want to. But I feel like it's a short amount of time that my boys are going to be young, and I can spend this time with them. And eventually they'll be in college and gone, and the house will be empty. And I'll have my time, you know,
To do whatever.
To do whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather use, you know, the opportunity to be home with them. That's all that meant. My time's coming, but it's not right now. It's later.
Yeah. Well, that was just interesting. That was interesting to hear. But it's cool, man. It's like I see you spend every minute you get with your kids and your wife, and it's cool. Have you gotten your shit snipped?
Snipped.
Are you snipped?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So you did.
Snipped. November. It'll be what? It was 2 months after Keegan was born, so it was almost a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like you were like, no more kids, no more.
No more. In fact, I'll back up just a little bit on that story. We were coming home when the Donuts, do that annual ski trip. So the second year, it was the first year that we went to Copper Mountain, and we were on the plane flying home. And we had been trying to have a second child for a while. And Amanda turned to me, and Dublin was sitting right in the middle of us, and she said, "Hey, Bobby, you know what? It doesn't matter if I don't get pregnant again. Like, you know what? We have all that we need." Well, it turns out that she was already pregnant, but we didn't know it then. So as soon as you stop trying to have a baby is when you usually get pregnant.
Yeah.
But after the second one was born, I'll be 48 in July, and I'm really enjoying Keegan, the second time around. But I don't want to be chasing after babies after
you're
this.
done with that. Yeah.
I mean, like, I got, started late in the game. I was 40 when Dublin was born, essentially.
Yeah.
And I love these 2, but I just thought, I'm going to be, 2 is great. If I have one more child, I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to be a broke, pissed off, tired asshole. And all I have to do is just stop at 2.
Yeah.
And so I talked to her about it, and she was cool with it. So for an anniversary present to her, I got clipped.
Part of your dick chopped off.
And she wasn't interested in being pregnant for another 9 months.
Oh, yeah. What was that procedure like? Enlighten.
I will enlighten everybody. I have a
I've
couple
been thinking
friends.
about doing this.
I have a couple friends that had already had that done. In fact, you can talk to Jeff Lane about it because he's had it done.
Nice.
And Mike Napolitano's had it done.
All the rock stars need that shit.
All the rock stars. So they had the same doctor, and he happened to work for Turo, and because of my social work gig, I work for Turo too. Dr. Neil Baum. I went in, and I said, "I'm here because I'd like to get a vasectomy." And he goes, "Okay." Consultation, fill out some paperwork, and he said, "Okay, can you drop your pants, please?" I said, "Of course. I mean, you have to examine my ball bag to see, what's going to happen."
Did you fluff it all?
Didn't fluff.
Oh, I would have had to at least flick it. You know what I mean?
I felt fairly good. It was a warm day.
Oh, nice.
So, it wasn't cold.
Dude, yeah.
So anyway, he's seen so many fucking cocks and balls. Like my shit could have been introverted and he wouldn't have cared.
I don't care how many cocks and balls you see. Every time you see another one for the first time,
nobody think that your shit is small.
You size it up.
Damn,
Everybody
bro,
size
I'm
up.
glad you get a vasectomy because that dick is little, bro. You ain't gonna get no more pussy.
Why
with
you
that
need a
thing.
vasectomy? It's not like you hitting anything with that little shit.
So he checks me out, very professional, and he writes me a script for 1 Valium, and he schedules my vasectomy. He said,
1 Valium?
1 Valium. He said, "Take this an hour before your next appointment. Come back in. It's outpatient. Just have someone drive you." 2 weeks go by. I was a little nervous because, somebody sniffing on you.
Balls,
sniffing on your sack. Went in, and Amanda brought me in. They finally called me in, and it took 12 minutes.
Really?
12. Like she timed it accidentally. Like I came out, she's like, "You're done?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "Probably that was 10. Then she goes, "That was 12 minutes." This is the whole procedure. Walk in, I'm laying down on the bed. He comes in, Dr. Baum. I'm feeling loosey-goosey because I took a Valium, but not too fucked up, but just enough. no anesthesia. He sort of rubbed something topical. He pulled my pants down, and it felt like the sound of it sounded like the clicking of a stapler, like that. But I didn't feel anything. It just
Okay.
felt like a little tug.
Yeah.
He said, just hold this bandage here, like tick, 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 and that was basically it.
Huh.
And he goes, okay. He goes, that's it. Hold this bandage on here. He goes, I'm going to just put like a little gauze on that. When you go home, or if you have a frozen bag of peas in your freezer, just keep them on your crotch overnight. Woke up the next day, little sore, took 1 day off of work. Next day was fine, went to work. Now, the fourth day, I had a little, like they swelled up a little bit. A little tender,
Yeah.
but nothing bad. And then like a day or two later, done. And now you have to submit a sample after 20 ejaculations to make sure that the surgery worked and that you have no sperm.
How long did it take you to ejaculate 20 times?
Well, I
from
mean,
the time of the...
it actually took longer than it should have. Because normally I could get that shit accomplished in a few days. But anyway, my sex drive has dropped a little bit. So anyway, I'd say like number 21 and 22, I actually did count. I kept the count.
Nice.
I jerked off in a cup, brought it in. They called me back and said, Mr. Hoerner, yes, you have no sperm. You look great. If you'd like to submit one more sample, I'm like, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I'm good.
Now, the people that I've talked to that have had it done, they didn't submit a sample. I'm like, well, how do you know? They're like, I don't know. My wife hasn't gotten pregnant. I'm like, wow, you didn't even check it one more time?
Yeah, I definitely would.
I check my shit.
I've been thinking about getting the procedure done.
It's really not a big deal. And if you definitely do not want to get a girl pregnant or have children, it is the way to go because now, I mean, our sex is so worry-free because, I don't want another child. I can't afford one. I don't want to chase around behind one. Like, I'm happy with two. Like, I really, really don't want a man that I ever get pregnant.
Yeah. Plus, you get to just dump loads in there whenever without thinking about it.
And for all of those of you out there that feel that this is too much detail, the content of the sperm, like your like ejaculate, it's a little less milky white, but it's still the thickness is the same and the volume is about the same. So for whatever that's worth.
I mean, were you like?
You're like, ew, that's gross.
Well, no, that's not gross because I think girls like it when you shoot a big rope, right? Mm-hmm. They like that. That makes it mean you love them more, right? Because you shoot this big rope.
That's exactly what it means, Cheese.
Well, no. If you don't think, hold on a second.
All right.
If you don't think,
I'll hear this theory out.
If you don't think that women correlate the intensity of the erection and the amount of the finish to you loving them, you're wrong. They do.
But wait.
They absolutely.
But if you're fucking them, how do they know the amount? If you
they can feel that shit.
Oh, they can feel it.
Fucking right. Because they stand up and it runs down to their ankles. Like,
This show has took a nice turn. I like this. Yeah, no. Yes, I agree.
Like that shit it's not like the cartoons. It don't all stay up in there. Like when they stand up, half of it runs down their leg.
Yes, I agree with that.
So yeah, hopefully that hasn't diminished your,
By the way, just in case this is bleeding through, this is important. There's a nice thunderstorm that's happening outside, which I'm kind of enjoying because there's a tin roof here.
Look,
So if you can hear that, that's what's happening, which I love it when it rains.
Look,
I live in the right city for that.
We're in an undisclosed location at a really great new studio, and we actually talked about that because there's a big garage door and we were worried, maybe people would hear that. I was like, fuck it.
No, who
Let
cares?
them hear it, man. Like, it's fucking treacherous conditions outside.
That's real world shit, man. It's raining outside and we're talking. So what?
Yeah, so I'm all about it. Let's see, what else?
I know one thing that you asked me to remind you of, and I don't know if you want to do that on this show, is the way that I started playing music when I dropped out of college.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know if you wanted to hear that story, but you reminded me. I don't know if you need something else.
No. I got all this, but you're right.
But we can do that on the next show if you got notes, bro.
Let's, how much, where are we at? Okay. The last time that you were on here, it was actually one of the first things I wanted to talk about, and we never got to it.
Okay.
Was you had been accepted into medical school.
That is correct.
Right? I don't know where.
LSU Med School.
LSU Med School, which is, from what I understand, super reputable. And
yep.
At what point did you decide not to do that and go on the road? And how did that go over with the family?
Okay. Well, to answer the first question, when I knew that I was not going to go to med school was probably about to be honest, about a year and a half before I even got accepted.
Okay.
You know, Jonathan and I started playing music. We got in Metal Rose, and we started to have some success, and we started to get some interest from Stephen Klein, who at the time worked for Network Entertainment, which was based out of Atlanta. And he saw us open up for The Cold at Jimmy's, and he really liked the band, and he said, you know what, I could really, you know, get you guys a lot of work. And I was already, like you, in the last few years, I was already bitten by the bug.
Yeah.
So, like, I knew I wanted to pursue music, and while I was young, I thought, you know, I should do that. But I went through the motions. I was still in pre-med at UNO, and my father, like I said earlier, was a physician. He was an orthopedic surgeon, and he really just wanted to hand off the business to me. And to be fair to them, I had told them my whole life that I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even starting college, I would go make rounds with my dad, film surgeries of him doing amputations of legs. Pretty gnarly, but fascinating shit, though.
Yeah.
Really fascinating. And to see, like, your goofy dad in surgery just performing miracles, like, it was a whole new light that I saw my father in, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward, I took a class my senior year at UNO, an advanced chemistry class called quantitative analysis, and I fucking hated it. I mean, when I use the word hate, this class was so advanced, you had to go to the bookstore, you had a textbook, and you had to buy this box of sticks and balls to make molecules with in class. Like, okay, you know, make me a nitrogen and hydrogen molecule with a, you know,
With sticks and balls.
with a bond, you know, to a hydrochloric molecule. And I'm like, it was so abstract, I had no interest in it at all.
Yeah.
And I got an F in it. And F, like, I just stopped going to class. I'm like, I
Yeah.
hate it. But I had taken the MCAT, the entrance exam to med school, and my father was friends with the dean of LSU Medical School. So I was in.
Yeah.
So at some point, it got so close, I'm like, I gotta say, like, finally, my parents said, what's going on with you? Like, you're not into, like there's something, like, your grades are dropping and you don't seem. So I finally sat them down in their bedroom. I said, okay. I said, I've got some bad news. And they said, okay, what? I said, I'm dropping out of college. I'm not going to go to medical school, and I'm going to play music professionally. And they went, oh, fuck.
That's great, man.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I said, well, you know, I've been playing music for a few years, and, you know, my mom didn't talk to me for like a month or two. Like, she was really? Like, she cried, and she was, I mean, to be fair to them, I knocked them out of left field.
Yeah,
with it.
you really.
Yeah. And my dad said, Bobby, do you understand that if you go to medical school, I will pay for you to go, and you'll have no student debt, and you'll be graduating with an MD degree? I'm like, I do understand what you're saying that, but I have to be true to myself. I feel like I've got a talent for music, and I want to pursue it before it's too late. And they relented, and Jonathan dropped out of school too, which they weren't pumped about that. But we started in the band, and we immediately went to work.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that they got over pretty quickly is we went from saying, I'm going to drop out of school and play music, to we were doing 100
Making money.
100
You were
dates a
making
year
money. Yeah.
in the first year.
Yeah.
So I wasn't some dude sleeping on his parents' couch going, yeah, I'm a musician. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was a working musician at that point. So anyway, and the way to wrap up that story, and I totally get why my parents, Dad came to me years later and said, you were right to not go to medical school because you're still playing music, you know, you love it. And eventually I went back and got my master's degree in social work. So the bedside manner of what Dad did, that is something that I do now.
And that's got to be the greatest piece of, like, approval.
I did get my education.
Yeah, but, like, I'll bet that if you had to say what was the most rewarding piece of all of this,
when he
it was
said
probably when your dad said that.
When he said,
it's fucking crazy how that works.
He
man.
said, you were right. He said, you were right, we were wrong, you had to be true to yourself. I realize now that you have a talent for it. And I mean, you know, and lo and behold, I mean, you know, Dad died a year and a half ago. And I'm so grateful that me and him really made our peace with each other years before about that. There was no more, like, Dad never threw it back in my face. In fact, the opposite. Dad would ask me to print, like, the band's calendar and bring him copies of it, you know, because he wanted to know, you know, where you playing tonight? And, you know, he'd come take video, and he was so proud, you know.
Yeah.
So it ended great. But it started as,
trust me,
fuck.
I just remember meeting in your in your parents' driveway to get into the Bago, and he'd be out there in the fucking in the robe drinking coffee, just giddy as shit.
Oh no, that wasn't coffee.
Oh well, yeah, you're.
I was vodka, motherfucker.
Yeah, like 6 in the morning. Yeah,
Hey, what's up?
yeah, just giddy as fuck watching us all load into this
Oh,
thing
yeah.
and taking off for a road
Yeah, I mean,
trip.
truth be told, Dad played drums and put himself through medical school, so I think part of him did understand.
Yeah,
And you know what? Like, he loaned us money over the course of the band's
yeah.
tenure, and we paid him back every penny. So he went from being really bummed about, not going to medical school to being like a real supporter of it. And I give Pop credit for that. Like, he changed his tune, and takes a big man to admit I was wrong about that, and you were
Yeah.
right. I just didn't see it at the time. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So I'm hoping that that if Dublin comes to me or Keegan with some wild shit that they want to try, I won't go, well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I hope I'll go, you know what? I remember being young and feeling like I had passion.
I think it's also okay to tell them, okay, go ahead and do that, but fucking work at it.
That is what I'll
Work
say.
at it.
That is what I'll say.
If I catch you slipping,
If
sitting
it's
around,
3 years down the line and you've done dick,
yeah,
I am going to
then
say something
We're going to
about
have an issue.
Yeah.
And I believe in that.
yeah,
Well, Bobby, I tell you what, man,
it goes by quick, doesn't it?
it really does. And I got pretty much. I've decided. I know you pretty much available for this. As you can be. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
I'd like to do this on a regular basis.
You and Dickie are going to be basically the co-hosts of this show as long as you want to do it.
I love doing
And then
it.
I'll be bringing in random people here and there to do more of an interview style thing.
I love doing it.
Right. But other than that, you got anything else you want to?
The only thing that I want to say, and we can just put this in the, plant this seed for the next time that we do this, is this has been great. Next time, I think that you and I should just pick like 10 random topics
Okay.
that aren't about us, which I love talking about us. This
Yeah.
is fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
But next time, I don't know, sports or
I almost got
not
there.
necessarily politics, because that's,
Yeah,
it's so overdone right now.
I almost got there today, but I wanted one
But this
more
has
time
been
to
great.
just
I mean, this is so.
sit and bullshit.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming, and
I love you, buddy.
wait till next time. And until then, this is Whine and Cheese. We'll talk to you then.
Whine and Cheese!
Anchor.
Bagger.
I just don't know what to do. I'm too afraid to love you.
Kick down the front door with my boys, the type of dude you intend to avoid. We get together, we start shit, we like noise, we make noise. Turn it up loud enough to hear my voice. Let the crowd and the whole world join. We make noise, we make noise, we make noise, we make noise. I get the silliest feeling, and when I'm gone on this Ritalin, take your face and disfigure it. Man, they thought I was kidding them, getting them out of their seat for back in S&P. Already faded complete, knock the dirt off my cleat. Now he's always got the pen out, laid up in the penthouse. Turn it loud, drain the ink and let all of the blood out.
I don't know what to do. I'm too afraid to love you.
We reinvented the wheel, let's made the middle fingers in steel. And Marilyn Manson cut us a rib and a deal. Served his dick on a plate, man, we couldn't wait to hear the hate. As loud as this motherfucker was bringing it, you think the lasers was coming from hazings of aliens, changing colors, karma, chameleon. Fuck music, he made noise, he destroyed. He turned us from little boys to lunatics with no poise who like to annoy, enjoy.
I just don't know what to do. I'm too afraid to love you.
Kick down the front door with my boys, the type of dude you intend to avoid. We get together, we start shit, we like noise, we make noise, we make noise. Turn it up loud enough to hear my voice. Let the crowd and the whole world join. We make noise, we make noise, we make noise, we make noise.
On stage, off stage, backstage, no shades, not afraid, uncaged, all rage, front page, headlines on a dime to reach around the sublime. Anytime, overtime, low, blow, roast some lines, refine for me to co-sign. Stains like iodine, witty like Einstein.
I don't know what to do. I'm too afraid to love you.
Invisible, transient, a fist full of Ambien. Can we win? Good night, I'm right. It's so pedestrian, water soluble and diabolical. Maniacal, I'm all around reliable and automatic, emphatic, addict, full of static. No commercial rehearsal, I flip it forward, reversal. Dance, kneel, jump around, slide your body in the sound. Down, everybody in the ground, everybody.
shit, we like noise. We make noise, we make noise. Turn it up loud enough to hear my voice.